Good afternoon, everyone, and a happy Valentine's Day. I'm not sure if the cooking skillets are going to be shaped like hearts today, but certainly you can enjoy one here at O'Neill's Grill as we're here with our weekly Fan and Press Luncheon. And today we have a special lineup once again. We're going to lead things off and bring Coach Sean O'Regan, the JMU women's basketball program, first, followed by Lewis Rowe, and then we will cap it off with our number 3 hitter, and that will be Marlon Eikenberry, head coach of the JMU Baseball Dukes. The baseball season for James Madison begins this Friday on the road. And once again, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kurt Dudley from Athletics Communications. So women's basketball, well, they had a pretty good week last week. They improved their record to 18-6 overall, 11-2 in the CAA, and they have tied for first place in the league standings as they have 5 regular season games remaining, 3 of those at the Convocation Center before the March 8th through the 11th championship at the Convocation Center as well. Actually, 2 home games remaining for the Dukes at the Convo. Last week, 77-42 on Friday night. That was against the Delaware Blue Hens as the Dukes swept that series against the Hens. And then Sunday, JMU trailed 46-41 with 7:39 to play, but then closed out the game with a 20-8 run, taking the lead for good on a Precious Hall tray with 4:56 remaining. And the Dukes won over Elon 61-54, and that tied them with Elon for first place. What was also pretty nice about that ball game is there were 4,019 at the Convo on a Duke Dog Reading Day program, and that means that for 50 consecutive games, the Dukes have played before 2,000 or more fans at the JMU Convocation Center. So thank you for coming out and supporting the Dukes in that regard. Precious Hall is 4th in the NCAA with her scoring average of 23.3 points per game. She keeps going back and forth between 3rd and 4th, and currently at 4th. She has 2,066 career points, which is 3rd all-time at JMU, 8th all-time in the Colonial Athletic Association. She needs 26 points to move up on the CA charts to tie Courtney Hurt, who played at Virginia Commonwealth University. This week, for Coach O'Regan and the Dukes, they've got a southern trip. They're going to go to UNCW. The Seahawks are 9-15, 4-9 in the CAA. Tip-off is at 7 o'clock Friday night. You can hear that game on the JMU Sprint Broadcast Network with Craig Orndorff beginning at 6:30. And the Seahawk Digital Network will provide a free video stream. You can access that through the Matazone video portal as well, and that is at 6:45. The Dukes won the earlier meeting 73-51. That was on January 2nd to open up CA play. Sunday, the Dukes go a little further south to face the Cougars of the College of Charleston. Cougars are 8-16, 5-8 overall. They play at William & Mary on Friday night. We have radio coverage there with Matazone as well, Matazone Audio. Charleston will produce a live video stream. This is the first meeting of the season between the two. Again, the CA Championship Tournament is March the 8th through the 11th. Reserve seating is $40 and general admission $30. Those seats are on sale now. So let's bring in the head coach of the JMU women's basketball Dukes, Sean O'Regan. Sean?
Hey, everybody. No, it was a good weekend for us. Really pleased with both efforts, and I think we got a little luck thrown our way with Nicole Winabosi being out on Friday night because she came right back in on Sunday, and Delaware got a win, and I think she had 21-12 or something like that. So again, a little luck, but we played well Friday, and was really proud of the effort on Sunday, just based on the fact that sometimes the ball's not going in, but the defense kind of held us in there, and we were able to pull it out, especially down the stretch. So excited about where we're at, but I've got my mind right. We haven't done anything yet, so it's something that we got to stay hungry with and make sure we don't take anything for granted. So we got a big weekend ahead of us, 2 road games. The first one being UNC Wilmington, who don't worry, they swept Towson. I've marked that down, and that'll be something I'll throw out there this week. But big weekend for us, but really excited about where we're at, and I think some good momentum.
I know there we go. I know for a good chunk of the season, Savannah's been sort of on the scout team and whatnot. obviously I haven't had a chance to stop by and see if that's still the case. But do you think that's done to maybe give her an advantage and kind of help her put up the stats she has in the past 3 games?
What I think it is, I think it simplifies it for her, in that all I've asked Savannah to do is rebound, hustle, and play good defense, and let everything else kind of come to you. And that's what you do on the scout team. You know, I'm not really watching you. You know, one of the assistants is running whatever set you're trying to run, but I think it's really helped her just focus on those things, and those are the things that got her, 6 and 12 on Sunday, was just hustle plays and chasing down a ball. So I'm proud of her. I think she's back into form, understanding what we're trying to do. She's also she's on the scout team some, but she's very aware of what we're doing. She's able to run plays from the 4 and the 5 without getting as much reps as everybody else. So, I was really proud of her weekend, and I'm most proud of her perseverance through the last couple of weeks where, I didn't have as much, I don't want to say trust, but it's confidence putting her in the game and letting her play through long stints. Sometimes because of the game, but sometimes because I didn't think she had that same look she had this weekend.
Any sort of ribbing either from you or the teammates, the fact she didn't make that 8 and 12?
No. I let her go on that one. I gave her a little joke about if you had told me in October and November of last year that I would be putting you in at the end of a game to get a stop, and everybody just knows it's never really been, defense has never really been her thing. But the way she's playing right now, it was. But no, she should have finished that though.
Coach, talk about coming into the fourth quarter and you're still trailing, and you said the shots weren't going in. What was your message to the team, and just kind of talk about their emotions when you would be huddled up with them on the sidelines?
I just thought I thought we showed a frustration midway through the fourth because nothing was going our way as far as, the ball going in some, the referees some. And I thought they needed a reset button just to focus on that, who we are. And that's not who we are. We're not a frustrated team. We're a positive team. We support each other. We play for each other. Snap out of it, and just go in the game. It's a 5, like at the timeout point, it was a 5-point game. That's 2 possessions, So essentially just hit the reset button and just get one stop at a time, and the ball is going to go down. And that's basically what I told him, was that what we do is we score in bunches, and sometimes I wish we scored all the time, but we don't. And sometimes we're cold for a little while, and then Precious will hit 3 threes, and all right, great. Now there's our bunch. So just really trying to let go of the frustration and let go of what had happened up until that point, and again, kind of eyes forward, so to speak.
Learning about your team, you learned through obviously adversity. Through that course, was there anything that surprised you when that turn started happening and obviously things started going your way? Did you see something, maybe certain players or just emotions or whatever, that might have been a little surprising to you?
I can't say surprising. I was happy to see the change in Precious's bounce and the change in her kind of intensity. Because I thought it was instantly like, I'm going to go take care of this right here, whether I'm shooting it or I'm passing it. But I thought she had turned her switch on. But nothing that happened surprised me, other than my confidence in Savannah Felgemacher on the defensive end down the stretch of a battle for first place. And that's no shot at her. If you had asked me before the game, I probably wouldn't have bet on that. But she belongs. So maybe that being the only surprise. But as far as demeanor or looks on their faces, I didn't have any surprise with that.
Coach, this team has talked a lot about how others would step up when Precious isn't necessarily at her game, and they talked a lot about that after the game on Sunday. How is that a sign of how far this team has come from when they first stepped on the floor against Tennessee way back when?
Yeah, it's we've come miles. We really have, as far as everybody believing in themselves and doing their part. And so yeah, we've come miles. I'm going to give you a little coach talk right here. We better have more miles to go, and because I think what we've done so far is good, but it doesn't stop for me here. And we're doing a lot of individuals today with them. I think you got to keep improving because as hard as some of the battles have been so far, I've been through CAA tournaments before, and we need everybody to be peaking at that time because that's what it's all about. So right now we're putting ourselves in position for that, but that's what it's all about. So we have come miles from Tennessee, and I was thinking about it my off day yesterday with even Haley Barron. I mean, Haley Barron was not playing the first 6 games of the season. I mean, she'd get 5 minutes here and there. She's been huge for us down stretches of games, and my trust level with her is through the roof. And she's earned that, But that's what I mean. It's been so different from November 11th to now. I don't want it to be so different, but I want us to continue to get better and improve. So we're a better team. I hope we're sitting here, March 16th or whatever, saying how much better we are than we were in February.
You've talked a lot about that you're a student of history, you love history, and all that. Is it a good thing or a bad thing that a player like Precious constantly sort of gets ticked off at the fact that you keep bringing, that somebody keeps bringing up the fact you guys lost to Towson twice, and you have had opportunities to sort of take a stranglehold on the CAA, and have let some of that slip away?
I don't really mind if she likes it or not. It's kind of what I'm going to do. That's who I am, and so it's like I tell our team too. You got to learn to accept your teammates and your coaches and your family and your friends for who they are. So she's gonna learn to accept me for who I am. But no, I get to keep poking at the wound a little bit because the worst thing in the world for us right now would be let off the gas pedal in any respect, in any sort of mentality, physical. It doesn't matter, any sort of respect. So I'm gonna, if that's a little Towson button I can push, I'm gonna push that one. If it's any other button, I'm gonna push it. So if she we'll see if she likes it or not. But I think we have a really good level of confidence right now. And you come to practices sometimes, and you can see it's a very loose confidence. And what I mean by, I don't mean loose confidence, but it's our demeanor. We're loose, we're having fun, and we still are confident in what we do. And when it's time to go play, we go play. And that's a good environment. I like the environment we have right now.
Sean, you've spoken about Haley and her play, and of course Savannah, and Logan Reynolds has provided a bit of offensive pop most recently as well. Those aren't quite the subtleties that get away from fans, but are there other aspects that are more subtle to a coaching staff that are starting to happen for your team and moving you in the direction that you'd like to go?
Yeah, I do. I think there's a little bit more collective effort, not to sacrifice, but to celebrate when other people have their moments. For instance, so Amber has a really good game on Sunday. Tasia is one of those people. Tasia could go the opposite way and feel whatever about that, but Tasia understands what she brings to us, and she understands that Amber brings a different element. And so I think buying into that concept for our entire team is something that has grown over the past month or two, maybe the last month more extremely. But those little things. I mean, everybody does a little. Haley, I've really tried to focus her on. He talks about it all the time, the little things and being a cheerleader on the floor, because Logan's not, but Logan might. We're focusing on different things with her. I was talking to a guy yesterday and talking about Tasia. He said you should start counting how many screen assists she has, and that could be something she buys more into, because she's not scoring 15 points a game.
That wasn't Kenny Brooks you were talking to, was it?
No.
Okay.
No. But it was actually the guy up with the Wizards, and he was saying that the guy Gortat, they count his screen assists, and he's whatever they do to compare it. I think the NBA actually keeps that. We wouldn't be able to compare it, but Tasia does a lot for us, and I think not letting her feel like she's losing value in any respect. Because again, there's going to be games where we need to call Tasia's number, not Amber's. Anybody, Logan, Haley, Kamaya, Lexi, all of them. And so that's where I think we're getting most of our uplift from right now is that concept and the unique part of our team that we only have 9 dressed out. So you can't buy into that concept if there's 15 dressed out. I think it's a little bit different.
A follow-up to that, subtleties about you, Coach O'Regan, that may be different now, or where you feel individually in coaching this team where you might be at this point.
Yeah, well, I think my comfort level. I don't. I've tried to be really consistent throughout the whole year, and that after a win, after a Towson loss, which it just still continues to haunt me, but trying not to become somebody else during that. So I've tried to stay really consistent with that. But certainly my comfort level, down the stretch of games, I think that's natural for, you've been in situations now. And again, I pull off of history. So, I in huddles, I'll say to them, hey, remember Hofstra, remember they made a push at us here. Remember St. Joe's, we're down 30, so I'll use those. But, now that we have more time and more games under our belt, I have more examples to pull from. But my confidence level and my comfort level has certainly grown. I think that's a natural progression. But, yeah, everything, too. I think our assistants are understanding what we're doing, and I think everybody's just gaining more comfort and confidence because the results have been more wins than losses.
Kind of springboarding off of that, with the ups and downs and the grind of a season, who do you go to when you need somebody to give you a word, whether it's just to lift you up or to lift your confidence, or maybe you got a question, or I'm really trying to figure this out? Do you have people that you call up going, hey, you know what, I need a little help with this?
Well, it's Valentine's Day, so I'm going to say my wife first.
Good answer.
Smart man. Like you said, he has experience.
No, in all honesty, she's really good. I mean, she pays attention. She watches, most of the stuff she's hearing, but she's good. I've got a little core, a group. My brother-in-law is there for us. Jason Zimmerman was a guy I used to work with at Evansville. Kareem Richardson's at now UMKC. Kenny Brooks. So there's a circle outside of the assistants, of course, but it's always helpful to have an outside perspective, I think, and sometimes me to just let it rip, and they just listen. So I have a good little core of people that just listen to me. We'll throw a nugget, in there, but I think you have to have that as a head coach, and that's one of the things somebody gave me advice about early was like, you can't not talk to people and you can't not get it out, and they might not understand, but at least you're getting it out. So
We often get caught up in stats of points, rebounds, assists, turnovers, whatever the case may be. But there are intangibles that affect a game greatly. What when you look at a film, you look back at a game, what are one of the 2 things you look to see your team doing intangible-wise? It won't show up on a stat sheet.
Well, it doesn't show up, but it's I guess in a way it shows up with charges. Taking charges, I think, is one of the biggest momentum changers in a game. And even like Logan taking one on Balkum against the press, it's a huge play. It gets Essence Balkum another foul. That sort of thing is something we talk about all the time. And again, we don't chart deflections, but I always say a tip is a turnover. So trying to find a way to get your hand on the ball. And again, Logan. Logan had a bunch. I bet you she had 7 or 8 in the first half. So those 2 things I care about a lot. But I'm talking about bounce all the time, and that's something that does not show up on a stat sheet. But I can tell real quick if a player's got bounce or not. So that'll give you a couple. But bounce to me is very important, and I probably overuse the word. I might have to come up with a different word next year, but.
Coming off Amber's big weekend, could you just kind of describe, and with her being a transfer, what her attitude was like when she joined the team and how that has changed over the season?
Yeah, it's been a lot of work with Amber, and she would admit that too. And it was 2 stages with Amber because the first stage was her first year with Kenny. Then you take it over, and we're starting from ground zero. And it's been a lot of work with her, but in the last, I think the last 3 weeks, she really has begun to trust me. And you could say 6-8 weeks ago, she would say she would, but it wasn't hey, I'll do whatever you think. And it's a relationship, it's a partnership. So it's not just her doing it. It's me going to her and learning what approach works for her too, because she's the type of kid that if you jump right at her, their wall comes up instantly. And so finding different approaches and understanding her a little bit more and having her understand me a little bit more. But it's been a lot of work, and she's a deeper kid than a lot that I've come across, in the sense that she needs a lot of explanation. And one of the things I really believe in is that if there's any gap in communication, it's filled with negativity, and it's more especially true with her, just because she thinks. So I make sure I really try to have every other day contact with her, conversation, not just, hey, how you doing? But I think the more she gives in and trusts to me and to the group, I think you'll see games like this more and more where she continues to take off.
Getting back to Savannah there a little bit, you talk about sort of the surprise that you bring her into a game for her defense. What's changed with her, I guess, defensively, that she goes from putting up 17 and 12 in her first ever college game to now you're not even worrying about her putting up a point, but just hustling and playing good defense?
Well, and we always tried to get her to do that, and we always – it's no comparison, so don't get me wrong, but like we always just play like Nikki Newman. Play like Nikki wasn't, always the greatest, but she was always all over the place. She made a defender kind of look at her like, what's going on? And we were always, Kenny and I were always trying to get her to have that sort of bouncy hands all over the place. And I think she's kind of bought into it. And again, coming from high school where you've been the scorer, you've been the stud scorer, it's hard for somebody to say, don't focus on your offense, focus on your defense and let your offense come. But she's reached a point where she finally has done that. And that's what it is. It's activity. And it's activity on the defensive end. She's got great length. And I think she's moving better more and more. And I joke with her all the time, she's stiff. But she's worked through that, and we've done a lot with individual work with that, and really trying to loosen her up and kind of loosen those shoulders up and get that activity level. But that's really what it is. It's the activity level on the defensive end where she's now understanding to rotate over to take a charge or at least be in the way. And her rebounding is, she's the best rebounder on our team, I think, hands down, by minutes.
Do a couple more questions with Coach O'Regan,
Sure.
please.
I was going to say, with her injury and whatnot, how do you see her, I guess, react mentally to that? Because a lot of kids, freshmen, sophomore in college, they're not used to being injured, they're not used to having to sit out games. How do you think she handled that mentally?
I thought it was okay. I think the tougher part for her was when she was healthy, and it was scout team time, and she was now behind the 8 ball. I think that was the harder part. I think the injury, Kayla's going through it right now. Precious went through it, and it's hard to sit. But at least you have a reason to sit. I think it's harder to go through what I really just put her through, in the sense that I was sitting her by choice, and I think that was harder for her to swallow, and I think it helped up the value of what she's doing right now for her.
Coach, if you will, just kind of expound upon Wilmington a little bit. What's the biggest challenge? Being on the road in the CAA is a tough place to do, night in, night out. But what specifically they do that concerns you the most?
Well, they're much improved from the last time we played. So the mentality of our team going into the game, where we beat them by, I think, 22, I think, the first time, they're much better. They're not that team. And so they've improved. And, again, swept Towson. You're going to hear that a couple times. But they like to run offense and kind of lull you to sleep. And, again, their Towson game, I can't remember if it was Sunday or I just read it's Friday, was 46-42. And their coach, I listened to her, and she said, there wasn't a whole lot of possessions in this game. That's probably my biggest fear, is you minimize the possessions and we're not shooting the ball well or something like that. Now, I don't want it to be a 51-50 game. I want it to be 88-64, something like where it's up-tempo. But that will be the biggest challenge, is that they run offense for 25 seconds to get their shot up, and we can't lose focus, falling asleep, and now they get a bucket, and now we're coming down taking a quick shot. But they're going to kind of slow the tempo with that, and I assume we'll go back to seeing zone for both Friday and Sunday. So, again, those are two challenges for us.
Then quick, the challenges of having to face a new team, this
Sure.
in the conference late?
No, we've done it before, but it's something that it's different, because now we know Wilmington. When I'm watching Wilmington this morning, I don't need a scouting report in front of me. I know exactly who it is. Charleston, I'll need to refresh a little bit more, but just a different challenge. And again, they'll sit in a 3-2 zone, I think, most of the game. And I think they've got maybe the top 5 player in the league, and Brianna Bolden. So that will be a challenge as well.
All right, Coach Regan, thank you very much.
Thank
The
you, guys.
Dukes on the road this weekend at UNCW on Friday night and at Charleston on Sunday afternoon. In just a moment, we'll have Lou Rowe, head coach of the JMU men's basketball Dukes. All right, we'll continue here at O'Neill's Grill with JMU men's basketball.